This week, we as a community have been inundated with the loss of life. 3 individuals in our community have passed away, and therefore we have said that we need some words of comfort. And in this 3-part series, we will be sharing word from the Lord on such an occasion as we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Part 1 speaks to this passage that is found in Joshua chapter 1 verses 5, in which the Lord says to Joshua, after the passing of Moses, he says, no one will be able to stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Words of encouragement directly coming from God to Joshua. Let's put this into context. Moses is a man that had walked with God for years. Moses is a man who had been drawn out of the river, given much by God, seen God in his life. He saw the Red Sea parting. He saw water coming out of a rock. He saw food coming out from heaven in the form of manna. He saw people looking at a snake, of brazen snake, and being healed. And he knew God. But there's a day when the Lord said to Moses, you will not make it into the promised land. You will die before you cross the Jordan River. And indeed, Moses died. But Joshua didn't understand. Why, Lord, when this man is so close to the promised land, should you allow him to die? Joshua had forgotten that God always orchestrates his will in our life, and he looks out for the greater good. And it was the best thing, because God knew that Moses was not going to spend eternity in the grave, but that along the way he would come and redeem him and take him to be with heaven. But then the point that Joshua 1 verse 5 is making is that while Moses had walked with God and died, the time had come for those who had walked with Moses to fill in those shoes, knowing that the same God who walked with Moses will walk with them. I never understand why the Lord allows some people to die. I have questions as to why he has allowed 3 of my friends to pass this week. And yet, today, friends, just like God said to Joshua, inasmuch as I was with Moses when he was crossing the Red Sea, inasmuch as I was with Moses when there was no water in the desert, inasmuch as I was with Moses when the shoes and the sandals were not wearing out, behold, Joshua, I will be with you. The blessings that were entitled to Moses are the same blessings that you'll be entitled to. And therefore, can we please hold on to the promise, knowing that those who have gone before us, those who walked with God, were simply setting a stage for us to come in. Because look at what happens when Moses has gone and Joshua takes over. Joshua crosses over and he sees what is happening out there in Israel, and he comes back and he gives with Caleb that beautiful rendition of saying, listen, we will overcome one day. And it is Joshua who leads Israel across. It is Joshua who makes the walls of Jericho to fall down. It is Joshua who establishes Israel in the new land of Israel. I'm saying that as long as we yield our lives to this God, as long as we allow this God of Moses, of Joshua, to lead us today, the promise remains true. The promise remains true. that I will be with you always, even unto the end of the world. Therefore, O death, where is your sting? O grave, where is your victory? For the last enemy to be destroyed is death. It is on the promise of that. It is on our holding on to the promise that even today, as we journey through life, that God remains with us. And let me explain that remaining with us. He is not remaining with us as a transcendent God. He remains with us as a core descendant God. He was not with Joshua as a faraway God who did not hear the prayers and the desires of Joshua's heart. He was always there, close, abiding with him on a day-to-day basis. And that is the God of our friends who have yielded to death. That is the God of Moses. That is the God that I introduce and recommend to you today. That God who condescends and sees you in your coming in and in your going out. Therefore, friends, the passing of our loved ones should not deter us from our grasp, our clinging, our faith to our God. Let us yield ourselves and allow ourselves to be safe in the palm of his hand. And then he will always say, I love it as he concludes in Numbers chapter 6 verse 22. And the Lord said to Moses, Moses, tell Aaron, Aaron, tell your children, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and give you peace. And you shall put his name in your hearts, and you shall be called blessed. May we continue to enjoy the blessings of old, and we can only fear for the future only as we forget how the Lord has led us in the past. God bless you.